everyone to Go My Favorite Sports Team. I don't remember how we do the intro. Hello, elegant listeners, and welcome to Go My Favorite Sports Team. It's time for the firefighting episode that you never expected, the athleticism of firefighters. I'm Tyler Scheid, your master of degree holder.
Books and worms.
The master degree holder. Joined
Bilbo
by
Baggins.
Wait,
Masters of bimbos and whores.
No.
Masters of sluts and slugs.
What is this, Harry Potter?
Masters of...
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if they're going to censor me on that
I don't know if they are either,
I don't know what they're going to do.
Again, I'm Tyler Scheid, the one with the master's degree, the one who did sports in college and beyond, joined by my fellow co-host, the illustrious YouTuber, the gamer himself, the man with the knife and the plan, Markiplier.
For those keen-eyed of you watchers, this is a different sniper knife than the one I had before.
Is it a different steel?
No, D2, baby.
D2 steel.
D2. This one was very sharp. But so I bought a couple, and then every order on everywhere was delayed with the fires. So things have been coming very sporadically.
Yeah.
So I have this terrible habit. Whenever I buy something, I buy two of them because I can't not.
I kind of do the same thing, but I usually return the one, if it
try.
doesn't fit.
I submit the online form, and then I get the paperwork. Well, the computer work, the pixel work. I get all the data.
The QR code.
The QR code, that's what it is. And then it's like, go drop it off at any Whole Foods in your area. And I'm like, perfect. Next time I go to Whole Foods, I'll get it. I don't fucking go to Whole Foods. So it never happens. And then I'll get an email like a month later, like, you've been charged for this. I go, what? Call up my credit card company. I'm like, no, I'm being frauded. And they're like, no, Mark, you're just an idiot again.
What you should do is you should just bring it over to my place when we hang out, drop it off, but make sure it's not sent to Whole Foods, and instead
you gotta take your pills now.
No, that was a different alarm.
Oh, okay.
That was make sure you're up and moving alarm because I kept falling asleep today.
I see.
No, but you should just drop them at my place, set it to be returned to a UPS store because I'm returning stuff all the time, and I just walk to the UPS store near me because I'm close to one of those, surprisingly.
Well, I don't do it for returning one. I don't get two of the same thing. I get two different things that I'm like, oh, I think that I'll like one or the other, and then I end up liking both, and then I'm like, I've got one as a backup. and it kind of works because this is a different one.
Then one can be your bed knife, one can be your go knife.
Yeah. I am not turning into a crazy knife guy because I don't know anything more about steel than I did before. I looked at a tier list of steel, and there was over like 80 different types of steel, and they were all some variation of number CR, number element V. It almost always ended with a V for some reason.
Victory.
Well, they were talking shit about some of those.
Viciousness.
Anyway, so I don't know anything more about steel. It was all very confusing. There was no conclusions, and I think that's actually the knife community itself. They also don't know what the hell is going on or what they want or what they need. So I don't know a damn thing, and I never will.
Were you potentially inspired by Joe Burrow gifting his entire offensive line katanas with backstories about what they were made, who they were for, and everything like that as a part of this past season of football? Because it's tradition during Christmas for quarterbacks to gift their offensive line really cool stuff.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow gave like the coolest gift because they were all asking for guns, and he's like, I don't really want to get you guns.
They were asking for guns?
Yeah, they were asking for guns. And then Joe's like, I don't really want to get you guns, but then his mind was thinking of weapons, and he was like, oh, swords would be pretty cool. That's a cool gift.
Wouldn't that be really awkward going into, I know a gun store owner would be very happy, but going into a gun store and going, I want 30 guns, please. Wouldn't that raise a red flag on the background check?
I mean, I think there's a lot of rules and policies about buying for other people with guns.
Not in Ohio, there's not.
Oh, just go to the farmer down the street and buy all his guns.
I mean, that pretty much is Ohio.
Yeah.
They pretty much rolled back any gun restriction at all. You walk in, you spit in your hand, shake it, magically a gun appears. That's how guns were made. You in a gun store?
Spit and hand sweat.
Bang! Oh, Smith and Wesson. Ah, shit, I got a 22.
Oh, I only got an air gun. It's just to shoot some peas.
Some of those are good, though.
Some of those are quite good.
Yeah.
I grew up having little pellet guns.
I also don't know anything more about guns. I know just about as much as that as I do about knives. And so it's pretty sometimes, I guess. And they go boom.
It's knives that go boom and stab further away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just stabbing at a distance when you think about it, shooting, you know.
But anyway, we're talking about saving lives, not taking lives today. I know you're talking
about
weaponry.
Guns are for?
The age-old argument. But today we're getting into the actual firefighters and what the athleticism of firefighters, as well as the fact that there is a sport around firefighting where teams of firefighters will compete. It's really cool. There's an actual world championship.
But before we get to that, is there any news?
You know, I've been slacking on the news. The Super Bowl's coming up next weekend, or this weekend. And it's going to be, surprisingly,
the same team as last year. People were really pissed.
Well, there were plenty of offsides, and you know, being an official is hard. And I'll never complain about like the job of an official, or even when I was playing a sport, I never had an issue with officials. The problem I have with it is the amount of flags that are thrown in a game and the amount of times it's not obvious that it's like, oh, that needs a flag. And then when you see ones that are very obvious and you see the official staring at it and they don't throw a flag, that's what's frustrating. And granted, you got to remember your angles are different. The refs are having to look at different things. But a bunch of Bills fans were mad about a non-holding call. I didn't see that much of a hold, so I don't agree with that. But Chris Jones seemed very clearly offsides on the QB sneak. The ball seemed to, in Josh Allen's hands, cross the first down marker at one point. There's things, and with technology that we have today, it should be obvious, especially when stuff is reviewed, but unfortunately it's not.
It should be. And for anyone that needs a visual diagram of you mouth-breathing, drooling lookers over there watching the podcast. Imagine my fingers are a football team, right? You're going to watch out for this troublemaker right here. Let's say this little piggy's about to do a flagrant foul. Or whatever. He's
about to break the rules.
He's going for the quarterback. Okay, you see? Watch out for this guy. Did he do it? That's what a ref sees.
Yes.
So really, you know, people get used to having even in the stands, you're slightly above everyone's heads. That gives you a huge advantage.
By the way, the dogs are in the studio today.
Yeah, Henry's over here. Let me take off his harness. That's going to cause noise.
Oh, is he scratching at it?
Yeah, he's just itchy because it's so dry.
Oh, yeah. So dry. We did get some rain, which was nice, but it's still incredibly dry.
Oh, thank goodness they opened up those reservoirs. It ramped down right up the mountain, came up as rain. And
it almost flooded fields from farmland.
That's called solving the problem. Just because you succeed too hard doesn't mean that you should back.
Yeah, let's release our reserves of water.
It's called winning. It's called owning the libs.
It's called we'll just flood them out.
It's called not manifest destiny. That's not what it's called. It's called
mudslide?
Yes. Except water, it's a water slide.
Oh.
It's fun for the whole family because they'll all be drifting off to sea.
Along with their homes.
Oh, well, they don't have
and all the
anymore.
food. That's so dark.
That's because it's sad, and we can only make so much laugh out of sad situation.
And there's so much that has to be done, and it's going to take years.
Yeah, anyway. But at least there's one glimmer of light in the darkness that is our world. Caitlin Clark,
Oh, you have Caitlin Clark news for me.
Do. Caitlin Clark led Iowa to victory. Iowa?
That's her former college. Yeah, she's an alumni.
That's not right at all. Something's not right about
Indiana?
that. Yeah, that didn't sound right. In this article, it says Iowa. Oh!
She go to a game?
No, she went to a game.
I was like, they're currently playing basketball right now.
As soon as I was like, oh, this kind of, I didn't read this right when I pulled it up. So Iowa won their game over number 4 ranked USC, which is right here. It is right down there.
Yeah.
It's right down there. Number 4 ranked. And they lost.
In LA?
And they lost.
To Iowa.
Yeah, they lost to Iowa. And then they retired Clark's number.
In USC?
I know.
Was USC in Iowa?
No, they were at Iowa.
That wasn't down there.
No, I said USC is down there. Careful with that arm.
Up there.
My heart goes out to USC.
I didn't touch my chest and I'm doing the one finger.
Yes. Got to give the politician, well, not anymore, the politician, the Obama, give the old, I oughta. Oh, God. Ah! Anyway, they retired her number.
Nice. I didn't mean to burp before that, but I did.
I thought that was a loud swallow. Nope. I think this podcast time is running out.
Sorry.
Anyway, so that's a big deal in the world of sports. Even I know that. But for all you non-sport knowers, when they retire someone's number, it means that no other player in the future of that team can ever wear that number because it is officially known as that player's number. So in this regard, it's Caitlin Clark's number 22 at Iowa. Unless they do something so horrible that they unretire the number. Which would never happen with Caitlin Clark. Oh no, what do you know?
Oh, I don't, but I have other basketball news for you. One of the most historic and insane trades has ever happened in NBA history.
I heard about this. I saw it come up. That's how big it was.
Yes.
Was it that guy?
Luka?
Was it him?
Is that, I don't know what that guy means.
The guy who's way too good and only likes horses? And then every time he nails a basket.
Oh, no. That's the Djokovic. Jokic.
Josic.
Josic?
Joki.
Yeah, he wasn't traded.
I thought I glimpsed, I just glanced a little bit.
Donvik. Luka, I think it's Luka. Everyone calls him Luka because I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's the face of the Dallas Mavericks.
You can see how I would get the two confused.
Yes. They are from the same region.
Okay, yeah. The names are like not similar at all, but also very similar because it's Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. These are symbols I've never seen on letters.
And also the letters are capitalized for whatever reason. The C's are, for at least in this article.
Not here. I don't know.
But NBA stars and pundits were shocked. People were reacting everywhere. I saw Twitch streamers see it come up that no basketball.
We've just alienated our entire Slovenian audience because we just said that Serbia and Slovenia were basically the same place.
They're in the same region of the world, though, right?
Are
That's
they?
what I said.
Oh, God. Nope.
They're not.
Yes, they are. No, they're not. Yes. No. Yes. I'm looking at a map.
Which is it?
They're separated by Croatia. They're basically a world apart.
That's, yeah.
Croatia. No, they're one country apart. So, yeah, it's actually pretty.
It's like the same region of the world, but they are from different countries.
It'd be like, Ohio and Illinois.
For those that don't know, Indiana's between those two states.
Or Ohio and Tennessee. I only know relation from Ohio. Or Ohio and Michigan, the other part that no one talks about.
Not the mitten. The opposite of the mitten.
The other place. Basically Canada.
Which, speaking of, to relate this type of trade to people that don't know basketball, it would be like if the U.S. gave Canada Maine, or gave Canada Alaska, and got a small section of Canada in return.
Who got traded for who?
So Luka got traded for Anthony Davis. There were two other players from the Mavericks that went.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
Unibroman.
He used to play at Kentucky, University of Kentucky.
Oh, I know Kentucky.
Luka got traded for
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. My brain just shut off.
I thought you were quizzing me. Like, are you paying attention, Mark?
Yeah, I was quizzing you. We'll go with that. For Anthony Davis, as well as the first round draft pick and another player. And the Mavericks sent Luka and 2 other players. But Luka was the face of the Dallas Mavericks team. He was their star. He's their headlining player. He's their main guy.
Just a shrub of a man.
Anthony Davis, while he is a great player, he has not been the same. He's gotten older and he's injury prone. He's had a long history of injury issues.
He's only
of 31, not playing, which is old for the NBA, especially for a big man.
Henry.
So to a lot of people, this is absolutely an insane trade.
Like insane or
insane. Because Luka is one of the most prominent offensive players in the NBA today. That's the big news.
That is big news. I'm just looking at a picture of him and Nikola, and I'm like, has anyone ever seen them in the same place at the same time?
They are very different sizes.
No.
Nikola is bigger.
No way. No. Oh, no. Yeah. 5 whole inches.
Another trade did happen that was more normal trade. De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings, Catherine's favorite team, got traded to the Spurs as part of a 3-way, I think it's a 3-team trade. So another team is involved as Bulls. Zach LaVine goes to Sacramento. So De'Aaron Fox is joining Wembanyama, Victor Wembanyama. I can't say that name. It's very long. Wemby is what he goes by for short. Wemby.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's a 7-foot+ tall player that used to be like, he has guard-like abilities despite his height. Very athletic. And De'Aaron Fox is one of the premier point guards in the league.
So is it like that joke where 3 guys are in a loop and the guy's like, hey, you owe me 20. And he goes, here's 10. And then the other guy's like, hey, you owe me 20. Oh, here's 10. And the first guy's like, oh, you owe me 20. And here's 10. And they pass it around again and all the debt is cleared. Is that what this is like? Do you know about that?
That I don't think, what?
You know that? It's a joke, but it's also true. Okay, imagine there was the mysterious 3rd member of this podcast right here.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
He owes me 20.
Yeah.
So he pays me 10, but I owe you 20. So I give you the 10 I just got. And then you owe him 20, but you pay him the 10 you just got. But he still owes me 10 from the 20 he owed me. So
and
I
take
the 10 and I give you the 10 and I get 10. Everyone's debt's cleared. And it's actually how the economy works.
That does make sense.
That's why debt is, well, money is fake, but debt is magic. Because it just means everyone can infinitely owe to each other so long as everyone keeps passing it around. But as soon as someone stops passing it,
that's when
everything blows up. 2008.
That's what happened with the housing crash.
Exactly. And that's what it was. It was everyone was playing that little game with house loans.
But then the banks weren't getting enough
they weren't getting
money.
the payments, and they couldn't pay the people that were betting on their other loans. And they're like, we can't give you that money. The debt kind of falls. Whoa.
Which is why, I don't know if you know this, car companies now have their own bank. So loans are now done directly into the car company's bank. There's
That's the next crisis.
That's the next craziness. Yes.
That's the whole next crisis. I've actually seen,
because housing, especially with 2020, with how expensive cars became and people started buying it, and now we've run into more people are getting unemployed again, and now we have tariffs.
Which just went in today, or no, not today. Yesterday. Not when you're watching to this.
25% from Mexico and Canada specifically.
If you're listening to this in the far-flung future of the trade war apocalypse that has swept the country and the world,
which doesn't make fucking sense. For those that want to know how tariffs work.
It's an economy podcast. I'm all for it. Let's do it.
So for those that want to know why tariffs existed to begin with, the whole concept of tariffs is to make it so that, say, I'm a small business and I decide I want to start manufacturing when I have the raw materials already at my place, manufacturing a product that is made overseas elsewhere and it already exists overseas elsewhere and is an import. My expenses at starting up are going to be significantly more than somebody who has already scaled up and has the machinery and the workforce to mass produce. I'm a small creator or a small manufacturer, and I'm trying to grow. The way that a government can help with your own industry to grow within that is to put a tariff on the incoming manufactured goods that would compete with mine so that I have the ability to sell mine at a competitive rate. Doesn't mean it has to be less, but it's not more expensive than the ones that are being imported. Mm-hmm. Because the tariff makes it so that, well, there's going to be added tax on top of that because it's not in the US. So it allows me as the manufacturer in this country to then be able to flourish and sell my product at a competitive rate and grow my business. That's the whole reason tariffs were introduced and tariffs existed, was so that companies like that could have that in the early days of the United States. Now, the US isn't the manufacturing capital of the world. In fact, we have mostly moved our manufacturing outside of the country. And most of the businesses here, it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of sales, it's a lot of pass-throughs, there's or finishing products. So like the actual t-shirts that come in, then they get printed on. But the t-shirts aren't made in the US, they're usually made elsewhere. You put a tax on that, on a tariff, now it's coming in, those t-shirts get more expensive, so it costs that business more. They print on it, they then sell it more to make it more expensive to the consumer. It actually does not help that business whatsoever. In the state of the US, the majority of manufacturing that is done, including raw materials, because we have mostly started importing most of that stuff, including gas, by the way, it makes no sense to tariff it. So a tariff across all goods makes no sense. If you wanted to develop a specific industry, a tariff on that particular product or industry would make sense.
Yeah. And so that's where people have the disconnect, because they're like, the first part of that, everyone listens to that and they go like, oh, that's great. And it's like, yeah, if we had the infrastructure built to suddenly change the entire pipeline of where the goods come from, which is not a fast process.
That's more than a decade, usually.
Probably. Just to catch up the majority of the industries that it would affect. Some of them couldn't spin up fast enough because you need the raw materials to be able to build the infrastructure to make the raw materials. And it's like there's many steps in the process. The global supply chain has become so convoluted and complicated that you have goods to make other goods that are required to make the tools to make the goods for other goods, and then stack it on top of each other. You have some trade routes that are bouncing between a dozen different countries before it gets to the main country making the product that it needs. And some technologies are so advanced, especially like you look at smartphones, their components are sourced from so many different countries. It's a global network. And we all realized, the collective humanity, we realized that things moved better if trade was more open because you could make more innovative products with the collective. And of course, that's
better products.
Exactly. That's oversimplifying the entirety thing. But so is just slapping a tariff on things. That's oversimplifying. Yeah. It's like, nah. This is the make more expensive button. I took economics. I know supply and demand. This will decrease demand and it will make supply go up in America. And it's like, that's not.
Yeah. In order for a tariff to work, you need to focus on an industry by industry basis, product by product basis. And you have to see which American companies that already have raw materials, already have the stuff, need that aid to then price match to then grow.
Right.
So then you have more jobs in the US. A lot of people go, oh, it's just a blanket thing. That's not how things work.
No, not. But they're trying to, more, less, oh man, to them.
Just be ready to spend more for everything. Literally everything.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Some companies are already, because when COVID's inflation was being talked about, a lot of it was driven by companies being like, oh, there's an excuse to raise prices.
Oh my God, gas companies.
So that's already happening because other companies are like, ooh, everyone's already prepared for things to be more expensive. Oh no, they're going up.
Now let's just raise it under the guise that it's something else.
And McDonald's was just coming down on prices. Just now coming down on prices.
And now they're like, oh, let me just.
They might.
Also, for those of you that are like, oh, gas got more expensive because the president. No. Greedy gas companies who literally laid off their workforce and paid their CEOs more and more.
It's sports.
Sports. The sport of shit. The sport of economics with Markiplier. That's from. I have a
Don't
clip
pin this on me.
Yeah.
Don't pin this on me.
I started. It's my fault. Economics with Tyler.
You mean Apocalypto _ 12.
Gross.
Hey, you picked it.
Well, that's forever ago because it was my gamer tag, and now I wish I hadn't.
You can change it.
All right.
Okay.
No, I can't because I don't have the resources to be able to change it universally off everything because everybody got rid of people, so you can't talk to people to change your usernames on everything.
Just use AI, Fivehead. What do you think I am right now? Pure AI.
Computed by big render farm.
I wish.
All right. So today, we've said enough news, enough chaos. It's time for fighting fires.
Okay.
All right.
Competitively.
Well, we'll get into the competitive part at the end. But first, I want to talk about firefighters and the athleticism.
Okay.
How much do you think a normal firefighting suit weighs?
Like total gear, air tank, everything.
Yes.
120 pounds.
So it's only 50.
Oh. Wimpy. Weak.
That depends on hand tools, specialty tools. If they're carrying the hose, then it's probably close to 120.
No. They're just a bunch of soy boy firefighters. Their standards really gone down with firefighting.
So that's the average, by the way, 50 pounds. But we're going to talk about wildland firefighters first.
Okay.
Wildland firefighters are different than your normal firefighters that you see every day.
They're built different.
They're built different. They're also generally not wearing fire protected garb because they're out in the woods, they're hiking. Those suits, they just would not be able to do their job as quickly as they need to if they had to wear those suits. They work long hours in challenging and ever-changing conditions. High winds, you're talking it can be cold outside, but then there's a roaring flame. I mean, you've got animals, you've got so many other outside factors, uncontrollable conditions. So steep terrain, high elevations, cliff sides, extremely dangerous job that requires both physical and mental strength. They have to have that fortitude to be able to pay attention to what they're doing because there's something called a burn back. And if they do a burn back wrong, they just start a whole new wildfire, which has happened, but that's very rare. But they'll hike miles a day carrying 45 pounds of gear. And you're talking up insanely steep hills. They'll even rock climb with that gear. And after hiking up the mountain, they could be charged with digging massive trenches, clearing land, chopping wood to create a fire line, which usually is multiple yards wide. I think the minimum is 10 yards, I think.
And that's for normal, non-extreme wind conditions.
Correct. That's normal, non-extreme wind. In order to become a wildland firefighter, it's extremely difficult. So you need to apply to a training program. Most, if not all, agencies and contractors offer training programs. So the U.S. Forest Service, for example, is one of the main ones, has its own firefighter apprenticeship program. They attend 3,000 hours of firefighting academy over 2 months.
How many do police officers go through?
Less.
How much less? I want to be depressed. How many hours of training to become a police officer? Oh, 664. Some over 1,000. Minimum for California, 730 hours.
I think Cincinnati, Ohio has one of the most strenuous programs.
Good.
Yeah, 3,000 hours to become a wildland firefighter. So you're talking about wilderness firefighting. They are paid for their time and all training costs are covered by the agency if they get approved. There's a whole application process. They're involved during this as apprentices with fire suppression, management, and control. So they're still involved with actually fighting fires, even when they're just an apprentice. Probably because there aren't enough of them. And they're usually away for weeks at a time, sometimes months. Long hours in the outdoors, some fly in helicopters to remote locations. They'll even be stationed at fire stands to keep an eye out for spontaneous combusting fires from lightning strikes and other stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they'll stay there for a while on these big platforms out in the wilderness. Hike through mountainous areas, patrol roads to access wildfires, and then they'll also speak to the public about fire prevention. So what do they carry? Of their 45 pounds, what do you think they carry?
They're huge balls. They're giant ovaries.
Massive.
They're big Tonka trunk of an ass. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Let me back up a few steps.
Their dump truck.
Their axes.
Accurate.
Chainsaw.
Chainsaws are carried by specialists. Yes.
Air tank.
No.
Okay. Emergency fire shelter.
They do have that.
Their signal flares.
Maybe.
Probably gasoline.
Probably. Well, not gasoline. Lighter fluid.
To do their controlled burns.
Yes. Along with a lighter.
If they can't make fire like that, then
they probably have flint and steel too.
Yeah, probably they've got this bad boy.
Oh yeah.
I've never sparked it. You think I should?
Not in here. Don't. I
haven't done it. I've never tried it.
Don't.
Chica, how flammable are you? All right, I won't do it.
With how dry it is, no.
I won't.
I do not want the studio going up in flames.
Yeah. And that wasn't like me looking to light Chica on fire. That was me thinking of Chica and being like, I shouldn't do that.
Yes, because Chica is far more important than all of the equipment in this space and my life.
And my life.
All right.
And there was an echo across the country of and my life, and my life, and my life, and my life, and my life.
Did Henry say in my life too?
No, not at all.
Didn't think so.
Or maybe he did. He loves her so much. They love each other.
They really do. They really do.
Where is he, by the way? Oh, he's right there. Looking cute.
So, to get to their gear, common tools are a Pulaski, which is a specialty tool. It's an axe with a almost like a pickaxe on the other side, but it's more like shovel shaped. It's not a hoe. What is it called?
I wonder what type of steel it's made of.
And a daze. But it's an arch blade, so it's for chopping into the ground. They use it a lot of times for chopping roots.
Chrome vanadium steel.
Ooh.
Whatever that is.
Don't know. A rake hoe is another tool that they carry.
A rake
hoe. Rake hoe. It's one word. Rakehoe. Also known as a McLeod tool. All right. So the Pulaski, that's a Pulaski. You can see the price of it, $99.
Oh, it's a steel.
It's a steel. You can even get the one with the safety grip hickory handle.
Ooh.
That's $100.
Wait, how much was the other one?
99. So it's
only costs
$1 more.
$1 to dip it in orange.
It's because it's for the firefighters.
Of course.
All right, you ready to see the Rako?
I am already looking at it on my computer. You're not the only one with a computer.
It's on Amazon for $137.
Only 4.4 rating. It's basically trash.
Well, they get higher quality ones. So they get the top tier Rakos, but those are two very common multi-use tools that they have. But they'll carry other things like some people might have small oxygen tanks. There are also additional weight, whether they're bringing the chainsaw, which, by the way, 25 pounds chainsaw, because it's not going to be electric, because when they're gone for a long period of time, they're going to be using gas generally.
Well, you know, what makes me think about that is I wonder if that actually is better than having a solar kit, like a mobile, like unfolding solar kit.
The only problem is if you're in a bind and the smoke is covering the sun, you're going to have a harder time getting battery life.
They got to get their electric truck out there.
They need their electric truck. They need their electric ATVs.
Oh my God, actually.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Are there no electric ATVs?
Oh, there are like a lot.
Probably, yeah. But chainsaw is about 25 pounds. Plus, they're already going to be bringing fuel for the burnbacks anyway. So usually,
but you said that was lighter fluid.
Well, they might have gasoline. They might have.
I don't know. At this point, I wonder if the energy density of batteries is actually starting to outweigh lugging a giant jug of gasoline. Probably not at all. Probably not. But someday soon it will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if they get to that solid state battery.
I know I'm not an expert in chainsaws. I have bought like 2 chainsaws in the past 10 years, and I've used one. So I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, but this latest electric one, it rips. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't cut out a redwood with it. So.
Well, and I'm also telling you, I had to tell you that electric chainsaws are actually more dangerous because of the torque power of an electric motor, and you have to get specialized chaps because most of them will cut through.
I lied about the chaps because I didn't know what you were talking about. Remember when you asked me about that and I was like, what do you mean chaps? And I just went, he asked me like, you had your chaps, right? And I go, oh yeah. Yeah, I had my chaps. Oh yeah. Yeah, Chaps. I'm not cutting down full trees. I'm cutting down brush.
That's even more dangerous.
No, it's
yes,
not.
it is. The small stuff of the
I'm not
chainsaw is more
cutting
dangerous.
down. I'm cutting up. I'm cutting up. My face is in trouble. You know, I can't help but the primal need to after every branch I saw in half.
But all right, fine.
Chaps. Schmap. Who? You know, when I bought it in a Home Depot, no one there said, and make sure there wasn't a Chaps section next to the chainsaws. How was I supposed to know you need Chaps? How often do you buy Chaps? How many Chaps do you have in your backyard?
I don't have them, but I've done chainsaw work in Ohio with my dad, and
I
wore
haven't,
Chaps.
and I haven't, so I didn't have Chaps, so I lied.
I can't believe you lied to me.
I was fine.
You are for now.
I'm never gonna use Chaps. I'm never gonna use them. Never. I don't even know where to buy them.
I really hope nothing bad happens to you.
I also hope that.
Because that can be very bad.
Well, here, let me look. Do you need Chaps to chainsaw? Yes, you should wear cut-resistant chainsaw Chaps.
Wow, it's like I know things, Mark.
I don't know about this.
My Eagle Scoutness makes me have knowledge beyond my age.
No, of the 5 different electric chainsaws, only the corded model was able to cut through the Chaps. So it barely could cut through my leg.
What year was that?
Now, this year.
All right, but other gear they have fire pants. They're not the same as the fire retardant suits that firemen use in the cities and when they're fighting structural fires. They have their general shirts and clothing. Boots for hiking. They usually wear lug-soled leather boots. Most of their stuff has a layer of fire retardant on it. Mm-hmm. Gloves, helmets, goggles for eye protection. But they'll also have a headlamp, a line pack for if they have to climb cliffs, fire shelters, radios to keep in touch, water, not for fighting fires, for their health. Mm-hmm. Hearing protection devices, flares, like you said, space blanket, backpack pumps for refilling from streams. First aid kit is essential, and then their snacks.
I'll have you know, I'm buying some chainsaw Chaps.
Yay!
And everyone should too.
Thank you, because I want you to be safe. They'll also generally have specialist people with GPS devices, drones, and body-worn cameras.
Ooh, got the deluxe face shield helmet too. Huh?
Ooh, you gonna load up?
Well, I don't want to look stupid.
Yeah, you gotta be.
I gotta look cool.
Or chainsaw protective gear, not fire protective. While you're shopping, I'm going to talk about aerial firefighting. This is the ones that you were following on your fantastic app. That if you want to plug it again, you can.
When's the sports?
We're getting there.
How far are we into the episode?
We're getting there. I'm going to focus on the aerial firefighting. So you have your air tankers, you have your smoke jumpers, which, by the way, which are basically carrying people to drop down into the fire, parachute for the initial attack and extended support of woodland fires. So they're firefighters who parachute down into a fire, which is insane to me because we talk about aircrafts trying to navigate that. Imagine trying to fly with a chute through smoke.
That's a lot.
You've got tactical aircrafts, which is like your lead plane, your air attack group supervisor. It's a small aircrafts that assist with area suppression operations. And then the lead plane is a twin fixed wing aircraft that assists the larger tankers by dropping fire retardant while the large tankers drop water on the actual fires. Water scoopers, we heard about that one from Canada, very famous. Next gen air tankers carry between 2,000 to 4,000 gallons of retardant or water. Oof. And then there's the single engine air tankers that carry 800 gallons.
Damn.
But the largest of the air tankers, or VLATs, because they're called very large air tankers, 9,400 gallons and can fly as low as 250 feet above the ground to drop their cargo.
Damn.
And you want to talk about the insane athleticism of pilots flying over and over and over.
We've talked about it in the last episode.
But now, let's get into the general athleticism of firefighters.
I thought we got into that. Sorry, chainsaw Chaps. Chaps. The yard Morris.
Protect your femoral arteries.
Tensor de longitude, Balsalo.
Yeah! Woo! Get your chaps!
That's literally what it is.
Okay, firefighters need to be extremely athletic to do their job. A fire hose weighs over 400, or not 400, weighs over 100 pounds empty, just a fire hose, and about 10 pounds per foot when filled with water.
Sorry, I'm not bored. I'm just tired. I apologize.
And then they also, general firefighters, have to be able to lift the average American, which weighs 185.3 pounds.
That's the average?
Apparently.
Damn.
The average American, 185.3 pounds.
Damn.
Their equipment, their clothing alone usually weighs 45 pounds, including a helmet. But then when you add on the rest of the gear with the air tank and everything else, it gets up to 75 pounds. Firefighters' turnout gear may be heavy, but it protects them from heats up to 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit.
Uh-huh.
But it's still hot in the suit. People are like, oh, it protects you from that. You don't feel the heat. They feel the heat.
I bet they do.
For perspective, those are the urban firefighters in those crazy suits. Wildland firefighters, they're feeling that heat on their face. Extreme temperature changes throughout the job, whether it's 50 below outside or 110 degrees outside. They also will help with wildfires. They're generally more stationed on the roads and will work safer fire lines to protect things from getting to houses and homes like that. Their training, 600 hours in training over 12 to 14 weeks for the average firefighter.
That's not even policeman levels.
Training usually is at a fire academy, learning technical info in the classroom, structures, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You must have corrected 20/20 vision, apparently.
Interesting.
I find that interesting, too.
Interesting. Maybe because your contact lenses will melt to your eyeballs.
Probably. But even then, I don't think you need to see super detailed words when you're walking through a home or a structure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because glasses will fog up or something like that, or
I
could fall out.
don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't. Is that limited to the pilots or something like that? Or
No, this
all
is just the
firefighters?
average firefighter. This isn't the wildland firefighters. These aren't the pilots. Pilots obviously are required 20/20 vision for what they're doing, but they're actually usually required 20/20 in each individual eye for their class 1 license. The reason I've been looking that up is because I want to get my pilot's license.
I'm terrified of small aircraft.
Which is what a paraglider is. It's the smallest of aircrafts.
I'm good. But I do have perfect eyes.
That's good for you. I don't. Well, I do now. Combined, I have 20/20, but 20/25 in each. So I can only get a class 3 license, I think, for pilot.
You got the implantable ones, right? So
Yeah.
you could just get them upgraded, right?
No.
Okay.
But I can wear glasses on top of them, but I'd be required to wear glasses for my class 1.
I still need to, my license still says I need to wear glasses. I don't know how to change that.
When you update it, just ask to do the eye exam again.
I'm supposed to go
to the DMV.
I was supposed to go like a year ago.
Oh. Oops.
Oh, fuck.
Whoops. Whoopsie. Anyway. All right. So into the athleticism and the sport of firefighters.
Uh-huh.
So to get into it, most firefighter exercises routines include get-ups, crawling, power sled pulls, cable band pulls, obviously core work. I don't know what chops. So they're working on their axe, push-ups, deadlift, lunge, and step-ups.
Okay.
Because they're going to do a lot of steps. The pulls and things, they're pulling hoses, they're pulling people, they're carrying people. They try and do lifts that are very similar to their actual work. So an example of an average firefighter's workout is deadlift, 4 sets by 6 reps, doing 5x5, 6x4, and 3x5 as the 4 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Get-ups, you've got 3x8, 3x10, 4x8, and 4x10. Get-ups, by the way, they're wearing their full gear. So they're lay flat and then they have to get up off the ground. Pulls, diagonal chops, and plank. Those are pretty common for that. Also, a lot of firefighters tend to be great swimmers because it works out your entire body while also reducing the strain on your joints.
Okay.
Now it's time for firefighter competitions.
All right. Minute what in the podcast?
We'll find out.
Okay.
Let's watch the video. This is the World Championship, Pelham Fire versus Team Poland.
Coming out of Team Poland, under 40 male,
I like how their name's towards their butt.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what you're looking at.
So right now they're carrying the hose.
Uh-huh.
Folded up hose.
Oh, my God. Oh, my. Okay. Oh.
And now they're pulling up a weight. I don't remember how much that weighs, but
It looked like a sandbag, probably about 25 pounds-ish, if I had to guess, if it was like sand.
all right, now they're about to do sled pulls. Or no, the hammers.
Okay. Wow. Man, he's destroying.
And keep in mind, they're wearing a suit that weighs 75 and having to breathe through a respirator.
Yeah, no joke.
And now it's time for the hose drag.
They gotta put out a fire? I would think that would be part of it.
Oh,
What's Phoneman doing here? Oh, where'd they come from? What the hell?
the body drag.
Uh-huh.
So there are different levels of firefighting competitions and different events. This is the world championship for it. So this is across the globe, which they use different skills in the U.S. versus other places.
Oh, he's got to be dying.
Yeah. And notice how they're immediately taking his respirator off.
Because he probably was blacking out by the end there. Oh, beautiful. Ah.
Shimmering gold background. So that's how firefighter competitions exist. So to get into it, when not saving lives, firefighters have to be still at their best training capacity.
She might have to go outside. Yeah, she is. She needs to go outside.
You need to go.
Yeah, sorry.
All good.
All right.
Taking care of the puppos. Everybody likes their pets. I got my new one. He's a Lego cat named Tux. He sits and hides in my streaming room. He's sitting in a box as I speak to you. His name is Tux and he's made of Legos. Check out my streams. Twitch.tv/apocalypto_12. I hope this gets removed from the episode. Firefighting competitions, the actual sport. That's what we about to talk about. That's what we about to do. Enjoy the shimmering goldness. Themed party screensaver. Beautiful. Those shining lights shooting to this. Well, it's just a GIF. It's just a GIF playing over and over. It just stuttered. Look, he's gonna do it again. There it is. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'm upset. I'm upset. That would bother me to no end if that was at a party. I would stare at it and be like, somebody's making money off of this. And they're just replaying a GIF over and over again. I'm gonna play it, so see if Mark notices the shuddering of it. How long is this? 15 minutes? That's even a lie. It should be like hours long if you're just replaying a GIF over and over. You ever get just so used to creating stuff that you just start talking to yourself?
All right. Sorry about that.
All good. This bothers me.
Let me see if
Watch.
I can tell. Oh. That jump was really abrupt.
It's 15 minutes and they just replay a GIF over and over of the same thing.
They didn't even fade it.
No, it's so bad.
They could try. Because some of these videos have millions of views. So you could make bank with doing this, but just try. The amount of people that go and
it has millions of views.
It has millions of views. The amount of people that just do stuff, if you could even call this content, they make videos like this, and there's a good reason to have some of them if they got nice music and a nice backdrop, but some of them are just churned out bullshit, and it's just it doesn't take that much effort to have attention to detail, right? It's not even making something super high quality. It's about, you can make something shit and it still be of a quality because you have attention to detail about the loop. Actually care about what you're making. If you're going to churn out bullshit, make it some polished bullshit.
If you're going
to
churn out bullshit, put it on Twitter.
All right. That sounds good.
All right. By the way, I have the list of events. I totally forgot that these were on here of what just happened, what we just watched.
All right. Let me recite it from memory. The hose carry up the 4 flights of stairs. The Yankee pull of the sandbag. The go downy slam a hammer into the thing 3 times. Run all the way on the other side. Loop-de-loop. Grab the hose. Chug-a-lug. Drag it back. Drag Fred.
Yep.
Was that it? I'm
Yeah,
missing.
that was the
There's-
end.
I think there was something else in there.
No, the last one was Drag Fred.
Okay,
They did
right.
shoot the target with the hose. So
Oh, right.
the 5 events in the competition is the high-rise pack carry.
Mhm.
Starting at the base of the tower, competitors race up carrying a 42-pound hose pack. They may carry it in any manner, usually over the shoulder like they did is the most efficient. But they cannot have the pack touch any part of the tower or deck. They have to put it in a container at the top of the tower. We didn't see that part because of the wall. Then it's the hose hoist. That's actually a rolled up 42-pound large diameter hose that they're pulling up. They're not allowed to stand on anything other than the top platform while hoisting. And it's once the roll clears the railing of the top platform that they can now run down. Forcible entry is when they're using the Kaiser Force chopping machine. And it's a 9-pound shot mallet. And they're moving a 160-pound steel beam 5 feet.
Damn.
So that's heavier and harder than it looked. Then they have to advance the hose where they run down to the other side, grab the 140 foot slalom course without missing or knocking over any of the delineators, which are they had delineators.
You knew that.
I did.
The delineators. The footy delineators.
My brain. And they pick up the nozzle at the end and advance it 75 feet through the swinging saloon door and have to then open the nozzle to strike a target with the water stream, shut down the nozzle and place it on the ground. Then they grab the 175-pound mannequin and drag it backwards a distance of 100 feet. And time doesn't stop until the mannequin and competitor cross that finish line.
That's too much.
And they did it in like a minute 17 or whatever that was.
Yeah, something like that. And the other guy was only a second behind, but I didn't see him on camera the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh.
So a lot of movement while wearing a 75-pound suit and respirator.
You'd think they could just crank the O2 up on their respirator and just give themselves a little more of a kick. Probably how they could cheat, you know. I'd probably cheat real good.
They just put the drugs in there. Line it
Pure
with cocaine.
Speed. What's speed? What even is? Is that even what they call it? What is speed?
Speed is a drug.
But what is it?
It's,
but what is it?
I don't know what it is. My parents were legal drug dealers, and I don't know what speed is.
A type of amphetamine. What type? Who knows?
Mm-hmm. No idea, but sounds like very similar to. Isn't Ritalin an amphetamine?
No, Adderall is
Adderall is
amphetamine.
amphetamine.
Ritalin is methylphenidate. So it's meth.
It's meth.
No, it's not.
It's meth.
It's we'll say it here in this economy, political, sport, drug podcast. Knife and gun soon. Coming soon.
The most American podcast ever.
I have a 22. He's got a 50 cal.
All right, but before we wrap up, because we talked about the competition, because there's not much to talk about the competitions other than the fact that there are regionals, locals, and all of, and then go all the way to worlds. There are team competitions that are very different. Regions have different competitions. I know when I was in Scouts, one of my Scoutmasters was a firefighter, and he competed in them. And every year at camp, we'd have pull-up competitions, and it came down to me and him. And I usually won because he hurt his muscles.
I'm so sorry. That's great. Sorry, my brain just connected. Speed is meth. It's methamphetamine.
Wait, speed
is meth.
Speed is meth.
We were so stupid. We're so fucking stupid. Well, there goes. Let's scratch the drug podcast off of our hyphen.
No. Much like sports, we're just both.
This for the not drug no.
But let's get into the history of firefighting competitions. All right, firefighting competitions have been around since the mid 1800s, when New York City fire companies would race each other first to reach a fire and put it out. So firefighting was also a demonstration sport in the 1900 Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
And today there are a few different firefighter competitions. We saw the World Firefighter World Championships is what we watched. But there's the World Firefighter Games. There's the Firefighter Challenge, which is the one that my Scoutmaster used to do. And then the Firefighter Challenge League has been around since 1991. It's made up of regional competitions, which include individual, tandem, and 3 to 5 person relay events. So it can be both an individual and a team sport. Usually the people within that group are from the same fire station. So I think rules mandate that you're at least from the same region. You're not pulling all-stars from all over the place.
Okay.
So
Pulling all-star. They got actual work to do, those all-stars.
listen, when I was a kid, my team did really well in baseball. We had a number of soccer players on our team, so we actually won our district or whatever it was, so we were supposed to go to city. We elected not to go to city, so the second place team was taking over. Their coach called our coach, my dad and my friend's dad, asking if me and my friend would join their team to build a all-star team.
Ooh.
And my dad said no. I didn't even know about this.
All right.
I'm sad about it because I would have loved to play, but I also wanted to have been playing with my team, which would have sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was good at baseball. As you know, when I hit you with a dodgeball.
Yes.
No flashbacks. Main thing I want to end this podcast on is we talked about helping the people that are affected by firefighters, animals, pets.
People that are affected by firefighters? Affected by fires.
Affected by fires. My brain today. To help people that have been affected by the wildfires in LA. What I want to end this one on is actually educating people on having a plan for preparation. Because a lot of people don't think about this. This was something that I did as a kid. I don't know if your family talked about this. We always had a fire plan. We had a meetup location. We had everything sorted out.
No.
So one of the biggest things with your family, you guys should figure out an evacuation plan. And you're talking about going into each person's rooms where they're sleeping, stuff like that, and having 2 options of exit. Whether that's one's out a window, one's out the door and down the stairs, multiple options. They make fire ladders that you can attach to the side of the house so you can get down that way. Making sure that you have a 3-day supply of non-perishable food and 3 gallons of water per person if you are in a more remote area. If you're in a city, usually you'll have access to that just by traveling a good distance. Making sure you have your necessary prescriptions and medications in your go bag as well. That's very important, especially for me with my immunosuppression medication. Change of clothes, extra eyeglasses, contact lenses, car keys, credit cards, cash, traveler's checks. So if you have a checkbook, those things, very important to have on you because if you get away, you need to buy stuff.
I haven't written a check in a very long time.
I haven't either. You usually can go to your bank and they print them for you anymore. If you have the right bank, it's free. But first aid kit, sanitation supplies.
I have actually started to pack. I bought, that's what this actually was for, is
your go bag?
For go bags.
Yeah.
So that was why that's why I bought 2. I bought another one. I bought 3 actually.
One's for your go bag, one's for your bed, one's for your car.
And then I got another folding one because this one was a random store that
a random store
was
purchase.
like, I don't know what steel is. And I was like, I don't know what steel is. I'll take that one.
Making sure you have a flashlight with batteries.
Yes.
Very important.
Or a headlamp.
Or a headlamp.
Or both. Why not?
Copies of important documents, your social security card, your birth certificate, passports, state IDs, things like that. And then pet food and water, and don't forget your pets.
Don't forget the pets.
Don't forget the pets.
Yeah, the most important thing is to about having that plan that I realize is there's oftentimes in an emergency, and if you don't have a meetup location and you don't have a plan for everybody, you don't know if your family made it out or not.
And you can easily get separated.
And there's more than one story about someone going into, they don't know where their family is. They go back into the building, try to find them, and they were already outside, and they die in the fire trying to find them. That's a tragic story. It is true. It does happen. So that's why that's so important to have a plan.
And we actually went through it a lot when I was a kid. Like we'd be quizzed before we went to bed what the fire plan was. We never ran into an issue. We never had a fire or anything, but like we would be like, all right, if this happens, what's our meetup location?
Do you remember, I'm sure most everyone had this, but they brought the trailer, fire trailer, where it would fill with smoke. I remember that was the coolest fucking thing kid me had ever known was possible. And I wanted to do it again ever since. And I waited next year. I was like, oh, I can't wait for the trailer to come again. Never came again.
Yeah.
It was one time. Why was it only once?
You want to know what I ran into when I did that? So I'm claustrophobic, but I'm fine if I can keep moving. Always, every time I did it, the kid in front of me would stop. And I would start panicking, which was really bad for the kid. I'm sorry for whoever was in front of me, because what I would do is I would punch them until they started moving again. Stop being scared. Get me out of here.
That's really funny. I just stayed on the ground low. Because if you get up and go, you can't see anything. So I just stay low and I watch people's feet shuffle. I got stepped on a few times, I think. I can't remember. But
you did the right thing, though.
I thought it was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, but they have the like crawl through one that used to take to the what was that? It's like the festival at Miami Trace Park or whatever it was called.
Unrelated. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
But do you remember when we were filming Space, when we filled the cryo room?
Oh yeah.
I just realized that was kind of like that, except I think there was no space at the bottom for you to breathe.
Well, that's because it was meant to stay at the bottom because we used dry ice to keep it low.
But it just filled the whole room, so everyone was stuck in that room waiting for us to get there because it was all one take. So I just remember them walking out of it, just being like,
oh yeah,
just fucking blasted off the fog juice. Probably fine, probably non-toxic, probably good, probably good.
I mean, in large quantities, that can be bad, but yeah.
I was just trying to, man, that stuff does expire though. I had some, we were trying to do it for a cloak thing and it just like was not happening. Just like, fire up the fire. Come on.
Please work.
Anyway,
so make sure you have a plan. Make sure you know the meeting location is very important and your routes out. That's why they talk about it every time you're on an airplane, which, holy crap.
People don't plan enough. People don't like so I wasn't trying to knock the safety equipment as far as like chainsaw. Safety equipment is incredibly important. You should always go through the trouble of having it. I did have gloves and eye protection.
And you were probably wearing jeans, which usually a lot of
I had
people
long
wear.
pants, long shirt and coat over it, and I made sure that I was like covered from
eye protection.
I said that but I did not even know about the chaps. I would have had that if I'd known that it was a thing. Also, for I've seen more than one video of like someone shooting a gun on YouTube. No hearing.
Oh my god.
No hearing protection. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What is wrong? You don't even know how bad your hearing is at that point. Like I never listen to loud music. I never listen to anything too loud. I hate loud environments. I don't like concerts. So I actually have pretty good ears just because I've never bombarded them with loud noise. So you better believe that when I go to my John Wick training, I'm going to be wearing double.
Yeah.
Earplugs, ear muffs.
Same.
Double up. I don't need to hear the kaboom.
I went to a music convention recently, and at a music convention, there's a bunch of instruments everywhere, and people are trying them out. I had earplugs in the whole time.
I have. Amy got them for me, and I'm so grateful. Because she knows I can't really do concerts, loud stuff. I have earplugs with me at all times.
Oh my god, are those the nice gel ones too?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, they're not molded for my ears, but they're very good. They reduce by 29 decibels. If I did this and earmuffs for shooting, it would probably be good. I mean, with my tiny little 22. It's still loud enough to damage your ears.
Yes.
So I would not fool around with any of them. But yeah, no, having them around all the time is awesome. And I keep them on my keys so that I can, whenever I need to, I did it with the chainsaw.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying is even in all the firefighters, they have ear protection. Even the ones that go into structural buildings, because fires are loud.
Yeah. Burning buildings loud.
Splitting wood, crashing sounds.
Incredibly loud.
Which is why, like, they want to be able to hear you, but you have to be extremely loud. And that's their best sense and ability to find you is still through hearing. But yeah, so having that meetup location, having the plan, everything is so important. I don't want to get too much into the gun podcast, but I actually am the type that I'm like, silencers should be standard on guns. Silencers, which are not silent. I think did we talk about this? Talk about the difference between silencers and suppressors? Yeah, they're the same thing. It is not going to make us silent. It's just going to reduce the loudness is so much louder than you think it is, especially when there's high calibers going on. I just remember from as a kid, like a 12 gauge shotgun in an indoor shooting range. Deafeningly loud. Indoor shooting ranges are so loud. Yeah, so I'm just like, I am of the mind that every gun should have a suppressor on it just because it's good
for your ears. And it's not going to make you into a stealthy assassin. They still go boom, 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 but they go boom, 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 boom instead. You're going to know.
You're going to know.
They're not silent in any way. Movies lie, but it is helpful for yours. And you'd still, even if it had that, still, I would have those earplugs in at the very least. Yeah, but I'm all about it. I'm like, hey, put it on everyone.
Sorry to add the podcast on a sad note, but I did want to say that the recent crash that occurred in DC between the helicopter and the plane, unfortunately, a bunch of ice skaters passed away.
I heard
from Russia and the U.S. So massively affecting the sports world, but massively affecting so many other people's lives. There have been other plane crashes that have happened since then as well. There was a medical one that crashed recently, and then there was another one I heard about just earlier today.
There was another one?
There was another one. I don't know the details of it, but there was another one. It wasn't, the other two have been smaller aircraft. The one was a medical one that happened in Philly.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know what the occurrence is of small aircraft crashes on a daily basis.
It's still not as much as it's been since things have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ugh.
So having a plan for worst case scenarios is always important. Obviously, you can't plan for everything, but doing everything you can to know evacuation routes, having safety equipment, all of that can prevent so much more tragedies. My brain lost the word.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support the podcast and interact with us, you can go to the Reddit, reddit.com/r/gmfst. You can also use that Reddit to accuse us, japreach us, share some sporting news with us.
Or share some drug news.
Or gun news.
Or chainsaw news. Or economic debates. We'll be holding an economic forum every Thursday at 3:38 p.m. Central Time.
On the Discord.
And the subreddit. Simultaneously.
Yes.
3:38 Central. Get ready to talk money.
And go check out the Discord. Go check out the store. Sell that stuff out because the new season's about to start. It's coming up soon, which means new designs, new logos, new fun stuff. But if nothing's sold out of the store...
Well, things are already starting to be sold out. The iFinger Sports Tee is gone forever.
Never
the Elegant
returning.
Listener pin is gone forever. There are only a few foam fingers left. There's a few pins of each left, and then I believe the Season 2 tee and the Athletic tee is still there. Hoodie, but things are getting real low across the board, so get them while you can.
Yeah.
And
Grab
they're
that
massively
stuff.
on sale, by the way.
More than half off. I think they're at cost or below.
Just clear an inventory.
So that we can get the new stuff all streamlined, new things in with the new design, which I shared with Mark today. Looks pretty good.
It's very cool. This might be the longest episode we ever had.
Maybe. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you when we see you. Bye.
Bye.